YCN Sports Talk Picks of the Week are brought to you by Salt Hill Pub, with locations in Lebanon, Hanover, Newport, and Newberry. Whether you're in the mood for a quick lunch, a great steak, their signature fish and chips, a fresh salad, or the best burger in town, Salt Hill Pub has you covered. And yes, everything on their lunch and dinner menu is available for takeout.
Welcome back, YCN Sports Talk. Now it's time for our picks. So we have the Sweet 16 Elite 8 bracket set up to go, so we'll start right off in the East. Number 8, Wisconsin, big upset over Villanova, and you kind of called that one. You said that on our show on Saturday, and Florida. Who you got there in that first match?
Well, because of that game, here's my original bracket, but since you gave me a second chance, I've made a few other picks. This is a great game right here, Wisconsin, Florida. Wisconsin been to the Final Four 2 out of the last 3 years. I think they get it done over Florida.
All right, and then on the bottom half of that, Baylor going against an upset.
Surprise,
South Carolina, and I think their surprise ends there. I'm going to go with Baylor on that one. Then going down to the West, Gonzaga, West Virginia, chalk in that region. Who you got?
Should be a good game. West Virginia's pressed. How do they handle Gonzaga's size? Gonzaga all tournament even. Do they have what it takes? Is this the time they validate themselves? I think they take one step closer to the Final Four.
All right, and then another big upset with Xavier. A lot of people were calling them to beat Maryland in their first game, but then obviously over Florida State. They killed it. We were watching that game together, and they just destroyed Florida State. And then the chalk holding in the bottom side with Arizona. And I'm going to go with Arizona as well. I think they advance, and Xavier's run is over. Coming over to the Midwest side, this is another one, Kansas-Purdue, chalk. Who you got?
Should be another good game. I think Purdue's had a nice run so far, beat UVM, beat Iowa State, but Kansas, talk about an impressive team. Wow, did they look good yesterday. I think they roll on. Speaking
about a team that looks really good, this Michigan team, Oregon and Michigan, a lot of people didn't know what to expect after their plane went off the runway, and then they won the Big Ten tournament.
What a run.
So, I mean, it's been an interesting year for Michigan. Pac-12, how do they respond? They've had a good tournament.
Yes.
I'm going to go with Michigan, though. I think they get it done there. Going down to the South. This is the all-chalk region, the only one. Yeah. So maybe a lot of people have this bracket correct. So who you got? UNC and Butler. A very good Butler team.
Butler's played very good. They took care of Winthrop. They took care of Middle Tennessee State. But UNC on Sunday, Arkansas had them down.
Yeah.
The one thing you hear in sports, never awake a sleeping giant. I think that game woke UNC up. I think they roll on.
Yeah, I agree with you. UNC, it was a 12-0 run
Something
to
like
end
that in
the game.
Yeah.
So they go on and they get to, you're picking them to get over to the Elite 8 on the other side. I'm going with Kentucky on that side. I just think Pac-12's had a good showing. UCLA's good. I just don't know if their defense is enough, if they can stop them. So let's go back over and pick our Elite 8 picks, who we think will get to the Final Four. We'll start with you. You get the East and West side. Wisconsin, Baylor. Who's going to keep it going?
That should be a good game. Baylor's a very good team. Wisconsin rolling it well. I think you can't overlook experience. This is going to be Wisconsin's third Final Four in 4 seasons. I think the Badgers roll down south. This is a matchup we've all been looking forward to.
Yeah, this is going to be good.
Gonzaga beat Arizona earlier this year. Arizona was without their top player. I think Arizona gets it done.
All right, and then going over to the Midwest, I'll make those picks, Kansas and Michigan. Kansas, they have looked very good.
Very impressive.
I know the first round they're playing a 16 seed, but they beat it by almost 40.
I think they feel kind of slighted that they weren't the number one overall seed.
And people are thinking they're below Villanova, UNC, even Gonzaga sometimes getting some love. So I'm going to go with Kansas. I think they get there, and they'll face off with a Wisconsin in that matchup. And then over to the South, UNC, Kentucky. That's going to be a battle. A couple blue bloods. I mean, they've been there. This is college basketball at its best, and I picked UNC earlier. I'm going to stick with them. I think they get to the Final Four.
And the one thing that, if this does happen, of course, we don't know what's going to happen, folks. We've all seen the madness. But the one thing you can look at is these 4 teams were all in the top 10 preseason polls. So even though they've had their ups and downs, you still have 4 of the better teams in the Final Four.
And that's the big thing that happens a lot. You get the talent. You know what teams are going to be good, but they struggle a little bit.
There's ups
you saw
and downs.
Wisconsin, and we got a little bit of time. Wisconsin should not have been an 8 seed.
No.
They were a good team in the top 10, and then they had like 4 or 5 bad games, and they dropped to an 8 seed.
Right.
That was
they should have been, I thought, a 4 or 5 seed. We could spend a whole show on misseeding. But when I saw Wisconsin as an 8 seed, I said that's a tough draw for Villanova because they're a team that's been there before, especially in March. You can't overlook experience. UNC, they're looking like a favorite to get back to the Final Four. They were just there last season. So experience is such a big thing to have, and I think these 4 teams all have it.
And next week when we come back, we'll make our Final Four picks and championship picks. We'll have our National League baseball preview. Baseball's right around the corner, even though it's not really spring outside. Don't forget that YCN Sports Talk premieres every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Thanks for watching.